Trophy Club Municipal Utility District Number 1 Board of Directors special meeting is now in session. The time is 4 o'clock. We have a quorum. The regular session items to discuss. Item 1, consider and take appropriate action regarding all matters incident and related to the issuance and sale of Trophy Club Municipal Utility District Number 1 unlimited tax bonds, Series 2014, in the amount of $5,765,000, including the adoption of Order Number 2014-1204A, authorizing the issuance of such bonds.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
I move we adopt Order 2014-1204A, authorizing the issuance of Trophy Club Municipal Utility District Number 1 unlimited tax bonds, Series 2014, in the amount of $5,765,000, approving and authorizing the execution of a paying agent registrar agreement, and approving the authorization of the distribution of the official statement in relation to such bonds.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second by Director Thomas. Any discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Item 2, consider and take appropriate action regarding all matters incident and related to authorizing appropriate personnel and consultants to proceed with arrangements and the preparation of documents for the issuance and sale of revenue bonds, and approving and authorizing publication of a notice of sale with respect to such bonds, including the adoption of Resolution Number 2014-1204A pertaining thereto.
Jennifer, Jim's terminal's locked up.
That's fine. How do I get off this kind of page?
It's looking for a password.
Do we have any discussion or a motion?
I'll make the motion that we adopt agenda item number 2 regarding take all appropriate actions regarding all matters and incidents related to the authorization of the appropriate personnel and consultants to proceed with the arrangements and the preparation of documents for the issuance of the sale of the revenue bonds, and approving and authorizing publication of notice of sale in respect to such bonds, including the adoption of Resolution 2014-1204A pertaining thereto.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Director Carr. Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Item 3, consider and take appropriate action to approve.
Before we go to 3, could we back up for 1 second?
Okay.
I wanted to introduce, you all know Dan Allman and Bob Drainsfield are here today, but Dan did want to talk for just a minute about the bids that we received. So Dan, if you want to kind of, he's provided y'all all with a packet.
Were you using the mics, or you want me to just stand right here?
Yeah,
You
with
need
the
to use
mic,
the mic.
if you don't mind.
Sorry if I move this down.
Yeah,
for a second.
absolutely.
Gentlemen, good evening. I won't take but a moment of your time, but that blue brochure I laid up there, if you open it up to the right, it's got the official notice of sale and official statement for you to have as a matter of record. That's the document we use to solicit bids. And on the left is a summary of the results of the financing. And let me get that out here. We did get a net interest cost, average interest rate of 2.89%, which is really a pretty incredible low rate.
It is.
And the bonds are being sold bank qualified, and that is, we covered that we're not going to sell over $10 million in total indebtedness in this calendar year. And we did have our rating of AA minus affirmed by Standard & Poor's. So when you have a rating in the AA and range or higher, you can get up to AAA. Well, insurance companies and insurance for bonds is not cost effective. So we were in a position to ask for it if for some reason we needed it, we weren't. And so to the extent that question comes up, that's why it wasn't used. It's not cost effective to use when you get that good a rate. They can't charge a premium and make it cost effective. So the bond buyer index, which we use for trend analysis, is this past week was a 3.94%. That's a 20-year average index of A-rated general market names. If you'll flip over, I'll just go through the pages quickly to show you the support documents that you have. Page 3 is a copy of the 4 bids that you received, the 3 unsuccessful bidders as well as the best bid. FTN Financial used to be called First Tennessee, but that bid came out of their underwriting desk in Memphis, where their headquarters is. It's a big, serious organization. They actually bid alone. Some of the bigger firms will do that on a small issue. And $5,765,000 is not small to us or you, but it's small when people are bidding on $100 million deals and 20 and 30 and 40 deals a day all over the country. So you may or may not be familiar with these other firms: Samco Capital Markets, Raymond James, and Robert Baird. They're all substantial firms, and I'm going to leave a copy of all the unsuccessful bids with you. And it actually shows the account members if they're bidding with an account versus bidding alone. So you've got that in your record. Page 4 actually shows an extension of the best bid that you're accepting. Actually shows the maturities and the interest rate coupon and the yield and the dollar price, and then it shows the total interest at the bottom. They're actually, out of the premium, this is a good point for you to remember, because if you get into looking at the details later, you can see at the bottom of this page 4, total interest was $1,936,000, but they're actually just offering as a bidding procedure $4,957.90 back to you as a cash premium, which reduces the amount that they make. In other words, if they sell these bonds at their listed price, they'll make about $53,000, but they actually produced about 58 or 9. But they're giving you back that amount, and that buys the rate down just a little more. And when we do our calculation, of course, we take that into effect.
Let me ask you a question, Dan. What causes that year 1 to go from 235 to 400 in year 20? What causes that to go up like that?
Well, I'll tell you, if you look at, best way to explain it, look at page 8. Those are your annual debt service payments. In order to try to keep your payments generally level, as you got mostly interest in early years and not too much principal, and the reverse of that in the longer, the tail end of the payback. So you can see when you add the interest to the principal, which is shown on page 8, we try to keep it in around the $400,000 range, and that's what you have over there on the far right side. There you can see that accrued interest on page 8, right at the next to last right-hand column. When you sell the bonds, you have a date on the bonds, and the date on these bonds is December 15th, but they're not going to actually pay for them until around the 23rd or so. And so they don't earn that interest from the original date until they take them up and pay for them, and so they give you that interest back, because first interest payments, you pay a full interest from the date of the bonds. They didn't earn that $3,296, and that's called accrued interest, and you're getting that with delivery. They'll pay for the bonds plus give you that amount of money.
So does this amount to a firm bid?
It is, in fact, a firm bid, and they're on the hook unless you reject their bid. And you've actually already adopted it in that, I
So
guess,
we
agenda
have
item
managed
number
to
1.
make this first sale of tax-based bonds within the confines of calendar year 2014. Is that correct?
Right, and if you flip back over to page 6 which is, continues on page 7, is a semi-annual version of your debt requirement schedule. And it actually shows the 2 payment dates each year. You can see the first payment you make is interest only on September 1 of 2015.
Okay.
So you won't make a principal payment this quick. You know, you didn't get to actually budget, although, you know, when you do tax bonds, you just get one shot at it a year to set a budget and levy a tax. And when you do revenue bonds, you don't have that same problem because you can raise your utility rates the required amount any time you meet. So you can immediately start generating more money instead of waiting for each of the appropriate times to levy your tax once a year and so forth. Page 5, like I said, it's pretty straightforward to me. It's pretty straightforward to Neil because I've talked to him about buying and selling bonds and he understands that real well. But some of the other board members, I'm sure, will understand that and want to have it. But if you subsequently have any questions about that, you certainly don't hesitate to give me a call and I'll discuss it. It's pretty simple. It just shows the principal amount, the interest rate, the yield they sell them on, and what that produces in the way of the price that the purchaser has to pay. And they're paying you par, so everything over par is their profit. That's what that last column shows, is their premium or their profit. And it's $58,653, but remember they're giving you $4,900 of it back. So they're really making about $53,000. It's $9.31 a bond is what they're making per thousand. And that really, I think the last page, that's an update of the estimated cost of issuance. This is an update of the original cost of issuance that was put in your application to the TCEQ and approved by the board and the TCEQ. It's gone down slightly through a few adjustments, but essentially it's the same number. I think it was originally 230,000 or something. Now it's down to about 214. And we still haven't worked out the final cost of the S&P bill because remember we had to prepay 7,500 of that, and we think we just owe them about 3,500 more or something, and they sent us a bill for 5,200. So we're inquiring about why they haven't kept up with the math on that deal. So I'll keep you posted. But
That 214,000 on page 10, I think you told us 4 or 5 years ago when we sold the fire bonds that estimated cost of issuance, as a rule of thumb, be somewhere in the 4% range. I see this one is in the 4% range.
it's pretty close. It sure is. Unless you have any questions, that was my planned remarks, and I'll sit back down and let you go.
I can either wait to, speak now or wait till the next agenda item. I just had a statement to make. Okay. I've said it at the last meeting, but my appreciation, goes out to you, Andrew, Fulbright, Jaworski attorneys, our own attorneys, Pam and Bob, our staff, the Wallace Group. We had a lot of hurdles and obstacles thrown on our way. It's been over a year for something that we set out to do what's best for our customers. We had obstacles put in place by other town managers, our town manager, house reps, attorneys. It seemed like nothing could go smooth. So I really appreciate what you did. And my main concern a year ago was what the bond interest rate would be, and it looks like, everything fell into place. So thank you very much.
Well, you're more than welcome. It's a privilege to represent this board and the staff. Y'all do a terrific job. And I can't say how bad I feel about what you've had to go through. It's just merciless.
It's unprecedented.
I wish there was some way you could, pick up an extra $1.5 million from that guy here down the road somewhere. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Thank you
Thank
very
you very
much,
much.
Dan. And Director Carr expressed the feelings of all of us, to all of you. Thank you. If we're ready for number 3, consider and take appropriate action to approve resolution number 2014-1204B to submit request to Texas Commission on Environmental Quality for extension of time for issuance of bonds for wastewater treatment plant improvements. Jennifer, any comment before we do that?
No. The only purpose of this, we want to have kind of a backup plan. The plan is to move forward with the revenue bonds, but also request an extension in case there's some need we go beyond that time.
Have you had any feedback as how likely that is to get approved?
I think they will approve it for sure. As far as the extension, yes, there shouldn't be a problem with that.
Yeah, based on history, nothing is for sure, though.
It's I think the questionable part is how quickly they would do it, and if it would be in time, if it would be before the order that we have expires, and that could be difficult. So it's best for us to kind of look at going both ways.
Was July 1st the end of the first request for bond approval?
No, February 6th.
February 6th. Okay.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2014-1204B as in Bravo, to submit request to Texas Commission on Environmental Quality for extension of time for issuance of bonds for wastewater treatment plant improvements.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second, Director Thomas. Any further discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Item 4, consider and take appropriate action to approve amendment to the agreement for water service between the City of Fort Worth and the Trophy Club Municipal Utility District Number 1 for the construction of a North Side 2 48-inch water main and allocated capacity. This came back from our last time. Jennifer, any comment?
No, just that the way we had approved it before, Fort Worth was not agreeable to allow us to make a change because it would have to go back through all the
Various towns.
the various towns. So I told them that wasn't a problem. We would just bring it back and approve it as it is.
Yeah, it's in the vicinity of 600, still 600,000.
678.
8.
But it's still 4%. It could be
4%.
higher, it could be lower.
Right. 4% of the total project is what we will owe.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we take the appropriate action to approve the amendment and agreement for water service between the City of Fort Worth and Trophy Club Municipal Utility District Number 1 for the construction of the North Side 2 48-inch water main and allocated capacity.
We have a motion from Director Toomey. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Director Carr. If there's no further discussion, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Item 5, consider and take appropriate action to appoint committee of the Board of Directors to serve as audit committee for fiscal year 2014 annual financial audit. Do we have volunteers for the audit committee?
I'd like to volunteer Jim Hayes.
Oh, good, okay. Or is that
I'd
okay
like
with
to
you?
volunteer Neil.
Is that acceptable to you too?
That's acceptable.
Means I'm out of it. Thank you.
Okay, we have 2 volunteers. Let's have a motion, please.
I make a motion that we approve Director Hayes and Director Toomey to the audit committee, the 2014 annual financial audit committee.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. If there's no discussion, all those in favor, it is unanimous. Item 6, consider and take appropriate action to approve order number 2014-1204B, setting district policy for public presentations. Any discussion?
I'll make a motion so we can discuss it. Make a motion to approve order number 2014-1204B as in Bravo, setting district policy for public presentations.
Okay,
I'll
we have a
second.
motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Director Toomey seconded. Discussion.
I'll give discussion since I brought it up at the last meeting. This policy is being put in place to prevent security, and I mean, we've had a number of meetings where we've sat here idled waiting for presentations to come up on screens. Also, we need to review the content based on certain classrooms in the country and certain presentations around the world, I would say. You never know what's going to come up or in a file, so we're just kind of proofreading it before it goes up, and I think it's a good thing, and hopefully the town carries over, because when you plug in something to that USB port, you don't know what's in it as far as virus purpose.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, on section 2, we're basically saying I think that has to do with anything that may be electronic. And do you really need 2 business days? Because if we're meeting on a Tuesday night, I mean, that basically the person would have to submit it on Friday, down here.
On section 3?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at the lead time that you need for, because I agree with Kevin, if you come in here with a flash drive, we should have it, scanned before and actually set up so we're not wasting time at the meeting.
There has to be some kind of a deadline, and we talked about this. There could be situations where I'm not in the office on Friday or Monday, and it seemed to be setting a limit. If someone gets it there after the 2 days and it's reviewed and ready to go, that's fine. But if you would like to shorten that, that's fine. But we just felt like when Pam and I discussed that there needed to be some sort of a deadline set. It can't be up to, an hour before the meeting when
Well,
there may be other things going on.
I agree, but 2 business days, do you think it should just, I would probably say 1 business day. That gives enough time to, check for viruses and make sure it's compatible with our system,
Okay.
that type of thing. But, we also could change the language to say general manager or designee in here, that if you're out of the office, somebody else could, because it's really not that tough to look at. If we're checking for viruses, it's a matter of, is there one or isn't there one, or malware on the
Well,
flash drive.
it's also content of the information if it's being presented. So it's not just a matter of run the virus scan, it's a matter of reading the material that's being put out. I mean, an example is that strategy map that's up there. It had what people would say offensive wording in it, and it sat there for 2 years or 3 years. No one even noticed it till council member Schaffner brought it up. It's things like that someone have
Okay.
to read.
I'm not going to object at this point, it's just that I just wanted
Yeah, and
I want to be reasonable, that's all.
Yeah, and this pretty much follows other towns, and the tollway board, it also follows the same thing, but there's a lot of towns that have 2 days. But it's up to the other directors if they want to reduce it
No,
down to
I don't have a problem
24
with,
hours.
I'll leave it at 2 days, and if we think later on we should adjust it, we'll just adjust it. I just don't want to be, if someone comes in here wants to make a statement or hand out stuff, I don't want to be, I mean, and you and I have sat here while somebody has fooled around with their PowerPoint trying to get it up and running. So I see the rationale for that. That was my only thing. I just want to, I'll leave it the way it is, and I won't object to it.
Well, I'd just like to know with the other directors, do you have any problem going down to 1 business day? Or?
I personally would prefer it to be 1 business day, only because people at times want to work on this stuff over the weekend. And when you say it's got to be done Friday, it just gives to me, it gives an impression of reducing flexibility. I'd love for them to be able to come in on Monday morning and give us something, and because it doesn't take that long to check a flash drive for a virus. It just doesn't take that long.
Again, we're not talking about just viruses. And again, I have no problem going down to 1 day if that's the decision here, but it's not just scanning it for virus.
But if you open the
content.
file, Kevin, again, unless it's got 47 slides in it, it doesn't take but a few minutes to review.
Well, Kevin's talking about content.
That's what I said. Just said. If you open it up and it's got 47 slides in it, or it's 19 pages long, then you have to read it. Yes, but
Laura, did you have a comment?
People do have the option of bringing in paper,
Yeah.
and we are not going to open these flash drive where we took that out, the email or a flash drive, because the whole point of a virus checker is that it's going to be uploaded through our website to somewhere else to be checked for a virus. We're not gonna have somebody come in and just bring us something to check, because then we would open it on our server, which then would defeat the purpose.
We have a motion and a second.
And what was the motion for?
The motion was to approve it as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Okay.
we got 2 seconds.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second for the accepting the policy as written.
Okay.
And so we will vote on that first and see what the director's thoughts are. So on that particular motion, all
You're gonna,
those in
you're gonna
favor?
allow a discussion?
I'm sorry?
You're gonna allow discussion before you call for the vote?
Yeah, I thought we did discuss. Go ahead.
I'm gonna vote against it because I think it should be 1 day.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It is 4. All those against? Director Thomas, against. The motion passes 4-1. Next item on the agenda is to,
Could I make just
yes.
a comment on this?
go right ahead.
Could we put this order reference in the future agendas under citizen presentation? So when it's posted under citizen presentation, they can see this order number as far as if they're gonna bring something? Can we do that?
Every agenda, when we post the agenda, you want the order
It says
attached?
citizen presentation, okay, and it goes on and says citizens can do this and that. Just
Could
put,
reference it.
per order number, so it's on there to allow people that there is an order.
Okay, in the verbiage, I understand what you're
Right,
saying, yeah.
Okay,
Yes, we can add
that's just
that.
direction, so.
That's a good idea, Kevin.
We have, of course, before even having this come before the directors, we have had our usual criticism on Facebook. And so some people are already aware of the fact that this was going to be a proposed item. So if there's no other business, we will, at this point, adjourn the special meeting at 4:28. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. President.